In this video, I'm going to try to answer a question: what camera should you buy, the Sony A7R5 or the Sony A7IV? These are the most popular A7s, the more aggressively priced, closely related pro cameras, and they are only a year apart in age, like my wife's better looking sister. I'm going to do a comparison between the R known for resolution versus the tried and true basic 7 Mark IV. The A7 IV is a camera that came out late 2021 and the A7R5 late 2022, and both are top shelf hybrid cameras. However, there is a rather large price difference, and we'll go over why that is, and what you may value may be different than what I value. Let's start off with the advantages for the A7R5. It has 60 megapixels. It can do 8K recording, 8 stops worth of IBIS, 4-axis screen that is so glorious. It has a dedicated AI processor. It has 2 million dot LCD, 9 million dot EVF with a 0.9 magnification. Focus stacking, pixel shift for 240 megapixels, dual CF Express Type A cards, and a shutter rated for 500,000. And now for the extensive list of advantages for the A7 IV. It does 4K downsampled in full frame and S35 mode. It weighs a little bit less. I gotta give it points for something. And yeah, the price. That's it, eh? I don't think I missed anything. So let's go over the similarities. Z battery, Bion's XR chip. It has focus breathing compensation, which is a form of lens correction. Focus map, a color coded way of telling what's in focus. They both do 10-bit video recording. 10 frames per second, animal, eye, AF, and video, large, medium, small, raw. They both have the double-decker dial for mode switch, extra customizable button as a replacement for the exposure compensation, and the best handling of all Sony cameras. Yes, I said it. Facts only. Let's break down resolution. 60 megapixels versus 33. The A7R5 offers nearly twice the resolution. However, if measuring only one side, it's 35% more in linear resolution. Both cameras will have no problems printing very large. The A7R5 can print even larger or perform crops, but it is an unreal expectation to do a 2x crop and maintain equal or similar image quality to the A7 IV. It doesn't work that way. When you crop, you're using less of the sensor to acquire the final image, and while you may maintain the same per pixel sharpness, you won't be able to maintain the definition compared to a larger portion of the sensor used when filling the frame. Let's talk about drawbacks for both cameras. The really high buffer rate that everyone is proclaiming, 583 continuous shooting, well, that only occurs with CF Express Type A. Same thing with the A7 IV and unlimited buffer. You really need the fast cards to make that happen. Another drawback are the slowdowns when using lossless modes. Cropped video, yes, both cameras do it to some amount. Allowable frame rates, 8K only in 24, 4K 30 missing in HEVC. I don't know what that's about. 4K 120 doesn't exist. The Bion's XR clearly has the muscle, and I think that most users would accept that since the rolling shutter is not fast enough, go ahead and take the line skip pixel bin version. It's better than nothing. Rolling shutter, yeah, there's a lot of it. The menu system, I appreciate the new home screen. However, that should replace the function screen, and they should migrate to something like the Super Control Panel by Olympus. Simply fill up the whole screen with see-through settings that you can change. It's okay to copy concepts that work. Literally everyone is going to be copying the Sony screen. All right, let's talk about a case for buying the A7R5. You get a 60 megapixel camera, same as with the previous generation, but with so much more refinement, which I'll compare to the old gen in a future video. The video quality, even if line skipped, is very usable and generally high quality. If I were super critical on video quality, it might be a concern, but I'm not even at that level of making quality videos. Is it cinema level? No. Does it matter? Probably not. That 4-axis screen, it's the last time you ever hear anybody argue about it. Sony put an end to any screen debates. Not only does it tilt up, but it tilts down. The Panasonic GX6 has a similar screen and it's glorious. However, it still doesn't tilt down or pull out to clear the EVF. Sony's does, and it is the benchmark. 8 stops IBIS for video users. I find that those that walk and talk are a little too obsessed over that factor. Your bread and butter shots are not walk and talks. For landscape users, I can see this being a highly salivating feature. Those aren't landscapes, they're just snapshots of scenic places. Focus stacking, I'm sure there are some macro shooters salivating at this feature. You can go ahead and take photos of your nightmare-inducing octa-eyed spider. When it comes to AF, let's be frank here. Real-time AF tracking and be there. Sony AF is lackluster, said absolutely nobody. I'm not a fan of calling everything AI. If it were artificial intelligence, it should be more useful. My 4-year-old can tell me when he sees a plane. Why do I have to go into the menu to select plane as the object? It would seem like if I started tracking on a subject, the camera would be smart enough to stay on that subject and determine what that subject is, and it sort of does stay on the subject as it is right now. Enough with the rant. The A7R5, from my eyes, is an extremely refined instrument, and it's not just a landscape camera. It's an all-around camera at this point. It can cover any scenario and do it well. Don't have pre-shot buffer? Record 8K and grab a frame. Shoot high volume? Use small RAW. Part-time YouTuber with the urge for high-quality stills? Yes. A case for the A7IV. It does nearly everything the A7R5 does, and it does it well. Sure, it doesn't do 60 megapixels, yet a ton of people are happy with 33. It doesn't do 8K, and many like me don't care. 8K has some serious limitations. Currently, 30p is not offered. There's a slight crop. Active steady shot is not available in that mode, and I question standard IBIS for video. And before anyone jumps on me for not being future-proof, I'll worry about being future-proof in the future. There will be an 8K A1 Mark II. There will be an 8K A7R6, and last but not least, nobody seems to care. If I get a client to care about 8K, then it's time to buy it. It's going to be a long while before 8K is a thing. Heck, even 4K is not even close to most viewed based on my analytics. $2,500 versus $3,900. I'm no math genius despite being Asian, and I can figure out $1,400 is a substantial amount. You can use the savings to buy a serious lens like the 35G Master or a second camera like an iPhone. I mean, honestly, can you say that the A7IV is a limited camera? It is quite good and looking like a rather high value. Historically, people agree with this sentiment, and over time, you can see this happen with the R3 and A7IV. They are neck and neck in price despite retail being a $1,200 difference. Yeah, I had an R3, and yes, I got hosed when I sold it, and while I lost money selling the A7III, it was nowhere near proportional. The basic 7s are a huge bang for the buck. The 2021 model was significant for hybrid shooters. There was a new 33 megapixel sensor, and it's a high amount and can easily be used for 30-inch prints with high fidelity. The video, well, you can see yourself, I'm filming with it, and it's awesome. So ultimately, which one should you buy? If you have an A7R4 and don't find it all that pleasurable to use, maybe it's just a tad sluggish, maybe you just don't want 60 megapixel all the time, and you can afford it, YOLO, you only live once. There's gotta be something said about the quality of life, and the A7R5 is fine dining. That said, do recognize that you'll be getting the same sensor, and that's quite normal for Sony and many other brands to reuse the same sensor. It was a quality sensor then, it is a quality sensor now. R-series cameras have been known to be associated with landscapes, but don't ever let that stop you from going further. They can easily do much more. This iteration makes leaps and bounds in the video area, and even then it pays close attention to photographers. And sure, it's not an A1, and it doesn't cost as much either. The high price is an early adopter's fee. If you can't take the hit, don't force yourself into this mess. As for the A7IV, if money is tight, it's there waiting. And it is fantastic in its own right. Cameras are so good these days. They have so much going for them. And if you're like me, oftentimes they're so powerful you can't even use all of the features. I come from a landscape background and it's my first love, but not my only love. Had Sony came out with the A7R5 before the A7 IV, I probably would have bought it. But that didn't happen and I don't have the strongest urge to replace my A camera for such a heavy price tag. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share. See you on the next one. Take care.